Blog Talk Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on our program today. I'm Armando F. Sanchez. I'll be your host, and we have the honor of interviewing Jerry Tello. Jerry Tello is the panel chair for a 10:20 a.m. summit panel for Lead 7 conference on March the 30th, 2016 on the campus of California State University, San Bernardino. Very critical point where persons in the educational field and in other areas come and attend all-day conference. And there's 5 major conferences, and then there's in-between ceremonies, which will also be webcast worldwide. So it'll be live and on demand. So let's bring back our guest, Jerry Tello, and let me give you some background. He is the director of the National Compadres Network. He's a therapist, author, performer, and program developer, and recipient of the Ambassador of Peace Award and Presidential Crime Victims Service Award. And the name of the panel will be Pedagogies of Violence and Indigenous Rootedness, Black-Brown Connections. What an interesting topic. Mr. Tello, thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Tell us who will be on the panel. We look forward to hearing them at the 10:20 event. So let's start from there.
Yeah, I'll be joined by Sharina Betters, Dr. Roberto Cintley Rodriguez, and Baba John Beatty, and all of them have extensive experience, not only in terms of living, working, but really focused their life work on really building healing and leadership development and advocacy for communities of color.
Wonderful. Tell us what I read off the title, very extensive title, very broad. The idea of violence, indigenous, and black and white connections. That sort of intrigues me. What is that about?
Well, in our society, what is recognized is that, especially now, there's a lot of discussion about, especially black and brown communities, and especially with all the police violence and how many of our communities are under siege, and there's a lot of violence not only that's been done by the system on them, but then it's also brought up the issue of violence within our communities, gang violence and other types of violence as well. And so that's a real critical issue to bring up, because that there's a parallel between black and brown communities there. All of us suffer this oppression, this racism. We also struggle with some of the woundedness in our communities. But what a lot of people don't know, and in terms of indigenous rootedness, is that besides the violence, besides the struggles, that within both of our communities we have tremendous indigenous rootedness and values and traditions and ceremonies and medicine and wisdom that we carry. And actually that is what's got us through. That is what has allowed us to persevere and to really gain momentum. And what a lot of people don't know is that there's a connection between communities. There's a parallel, and so a number of us are doing this intentionally. We are lifting this up, acknowledging this, and bringing the connection between our communities, not only in terms of just addressing the violence, but in terms of rerouting for next generations that sense of who we are from our identity, our traditions, our customs, and our ceremonies. And right before this panel, we'll be doing an opening ceremony with an African group and an Aztec group that will be actually offering ceremony together as one symbol of that as well.
It sort of quickly you raised the question in my head. So, pedagogies of violence and indigenous rootedness. So, as we learn about this, will this make students perform better?
Well, what we understand is if you take a tree, and if the root is strong, then regardless if the wind comes very strong, if you have other challenges, that tree is going to be able to withstand. But if the rootedness is not there, and all you're growing is branches and flowers, then when a major struggle or challenge comes, then you're going to not only break off your root, but you're going to fall on those that are close to you. And that's what we see in our communities many times. When we are not rooted by values, by traditions, by a sense of identity, then what ends up happening is we end up not only hurting ourselves, but hurting others close to us. And so it's significant and imperative. And we find this in educational institutions. Young people that are rooted very well in their identity, regardless of what they go through, they have a stronger sense of being able to rebound and persevere. And even our students that are in college, some of them get to college, but then they get to college and they're now shocked by all these different populations and all these different questions and challenges, and they end up dropping out or end up, doing other things that are really not to their best interest. And so that's why ethnic studies is so important. That's why elders are so important. That's why wisdom is so important for our young people, and rerouting them in the sense of their identity. When we're stronger in our identity, we're also more open to be inclusive with other populations and be compassionate and to have a more inclusive, connected society.
What a wonderful, wonderful sense of direction that I'm starting to get from this panel. So I look forward to hearing the panel and getting these ideas. It sort of brings clarity to my mind how important it is. I applaud what you're doing for your group and yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Jerry Tello, who is the 10:20 a.m. panel chair for the Lead 7 Summit Conference on March the 30th, 2016 on the campus of California State University, San Bernardino. Again, it is free. You can attend, or you can also hear it over a webcast worldwide so that persons can participate as well, as this program is also worldwide. So please feel connected, feel the idea that you can take these ideas and apply it to your own community wherever you are throughout the world. Mr. Tello, in closing, would you like to have any last-minute remarks?
Well, I think what's really important is that we expose our students and our young people to this path and to the sense of who we are. And I think this panel, and actually the whole day that is scheduled that day, is really about that. And the other thing is about the Black-Brown connection, that we are related, that we are interconnected, and our cause is one that has similar roots.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We want to also acknowledge the leadership of the entire group that puts together all the work to put together Lead 7 together, and also as well Dr. Enrique Murillo, who's sort of spearheading the whole idea. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I invite you to join the Lead 7 Summit physically there or via the internet. And thank you, Mr. Tello, for letting us in and what is going to happen in that particular 10 a.m. panel. And again, we wish you continued success. And certainly we're going to take our notebooks with us and take a lot of ideas from you and apply them to our own neighborhood. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Armando F. Sanchez. You can contact me if you have any questions about the show or getting in contact about the LEAD conference or with Mr. Jerry Tello. You can contact me at lsacnational@hotmail.com. Thank you, and success to LEAD 7, and thank you very much for being with us. Adios.